The restoration has turned a corner. I am now assembling parts. Instead of disassembling them, cleaning, painting, and such, I'm now ready to assemble or reassemble parts to get back on the car. So what you're looking at is, yes, anti-roll bar. New bushings. Definitely was not too much. Well, I should change. It was easy to get the bushings in. I could press them in by hand, and then I wrap this really well in a vise. Put a little grease on the tip, and then press these on over, and then that worked out real well. So, yep. So that is now ready. So we'll say it's painted, and that's ready to go on the car. Steering rack is painted, and I'm happy with the paint as it came out. But I ran into a couple of issues. Old rack boots size. I made the mistake of ordering Europa rack boots. Yeah, no, they're not Europa. This end is the same, but the other end isn't. And it's big difference in Europa versus them. And I should have known better. It was my fault. The mounts for this are, I think, for Elite Early Esprit. So, but what I did get is, thanks to Ray at RD, met him at the East Coast Lotus meet this past weekend, and this is Elite. So, more size-wise, what this is, but we'll say Europa, this end didn't fit, but on the Elite, this end is right. Different diameters. So that is the bellows. And then we have, and then I have another issue. All right, the track rod ends for the steering rack. This is one of the original stand parts, and it has stand part number and all of it on it. When it was on, it was, let's see if I can get this set up again. I knocked it over, my fault. I had just a couple of threads on the other side of the jam nut. If you see that area there where the rust is, that is where the jam nut was, with just a couple of threads. So, not much room for adjustment. Let's go with that. So with that in mind, the new tie rod are the new ends. Now if I set this up, you can see just how much longer the threaded area is on the new ones, and you can't get them shorter. I checked into it there. Unless somebody knows more than I do who's watching this, I can't seem to find them the shorter version anymore. So I am trying to figure out, we'll say, two methods, since I can't come up with these. Do I cut this shorter so that I have enough thread? That's option one. Option two is cut more thread. So that's kind of where I'm at. Trying to think of which of those two I prefer. I'm not thrilled about cutting this, but still, and threading it shouldn't be any difficult. I've already had this down, and it cleans up the little rusted area really well on the other end. I just have to anchor this side so I can wind the die down on that and make a few more threads. So that is what's going on with steering rack. Well, update. The rack is together, and boots are on, and I elected, after some discussion within myself, as I want to put it, that I decided to cut some more threads. Yep, I cut a few more threads, and that should work out, I think, the best. So, and if I have to, I can always trim these back, but the threads, I think, was the first thing to do, and go from there. But the rack is done, and that's ready to go on the car now. Started mocking up the front suspension, starting on the right side. I had an issue with the long bolts, but I'll get to that in a moment. Sorry for the shake. Just trying to change hands real quick so I can show something. All right, so basically the gap that's in there is for the shock. This gap here, which if you've got a Europa or we'll say a 7, that's where it belongs. So if I take the new shock, and I can tell you that it isn't going to fit. There's not enough room. And I mean, really not enough room. Let's see, get the caliper out. Let's see if I switch hands here. Do this with the caliper. Okay. So, okay. 116, let's say. 116. It isn't easy to do this one-handed, basically, we'll say. What have I got here? All right. This is 1324. 1324. Really off. Even if I take away the rubber that's there, I'm down to 113, which is that's pretty tight there too. And that would mean shaving off the rubber and the metal insert on both sides. So if we look at the old one that came out, you notice on the right side, it's a little thinner. They chopped it. They chopped one side. And you can actually see, more of the cut. And that was the previous person's solution to this. And that's a lot they took off of that there. I'm not interested in being that aggressive, especially not right now. But I'm going to have to come up with a solution to manage that. Maybe just to try to trim them flush might be the best thing to do. How can I trim them flush? And that might give me close. And if I really had to, do I take a little bit off of the insert, off of the bushing? Do I shave just a hair off the bushing? But actually, I'd love to have the bushing out, put it in the lathe, trim it up true if I was going to do that. Just like the other one. How do I ensure that it's true square cut? But I'm not sure what other solutions I have, because I only have a certain amount of width here, and right now the shock is, we'll say, too big. Alright, so I'm going to take a day or so to contemplate on what really all my options are and go from there. Before I got to the shock issue, I did have to clean out the holes. There was a lot of epoxy paint in there. So, yep, got out the wire tube brushes, put on the drill, and that did really well for cleaning that up. So yeah, the paint was just a little too much, and it's a critical alignment for the bolt going into the back receiver. The bolts for the top here are 1/2 inch bolts. And actually, the original one is basically a stud threaded both ends and a welded one nut on. This is not one of those. This is a replacement bolt. And as they are, the originals were 1/2 inch, 20 threads per inch. This is back like a 1/2 13. I think it's 13 threads per inch. And somebody severely ground the tip off to guide its way in. And if, pardon me. Sorry. Okay. You can see basically, let me see if I hold this up. Wait a minute. Let me get myself steady here. Okay, I'm a little steadier now. There was a bolt in this, and I have a feeling this area might have gotten tweaked somewhere in its history, because you can see just how out of alignment they are. Sorry if it's trying to focus and I'm trying to hold it steady with one hand, which doesn't always work. So I see there was a bolt in there, and it's very close. So I'm thinking, well, not sure what to do. I have idea. I have options. Let's put it this way. I got options. One is to just ram the bolt home and wind it in and hope for the best. And you'll kind of mess the threads up on the way in, and you've got to clean the threads up after it's out. Or maybe on the top of this hole here, take a grinder to it and make a little relief cut to help guide the bolt in with threads. I could also make kind of a little relief cut in the back. You know, try to give it a little more angle. Yes, it's going to egg shape it a little bit out here, or maybe in here on this end. That's an option. That's an option to try to align them back up. I could put the porta power in here and try to give this a tweak down. That's kind of way out on a limb that I'm not really ready to go to. No, I just can't bring myself to do that. I'm not sure what would happen. I'm also not sure if any of the paint would crack if I go and stress it too much. So right now I think adjusting the holes are better. Now I do have, we'll say, the right bolt coming, because this of course is what somebody made up. It's not the right one. Okay, McMaster-Carr is great. I've ordered the right bolts in the right thread, and we'll go from there. So that's my next step while I contemplate how to fix that. Sorry for the noise in the background. Fans running. But the bottom is doing well. And of course, I'm going to have that same issue over here with the with the shock, top of the shock. And I haven't yet looked at the bottom of the shock to see how's it going to fit in here. You know, is it wider than what it should be down here also? I'll have to. Yeah, the part of assembling that gets to be fun. As things are continually made, they change things up just a little bit in the shapes and sizes, and I wonder what the original one was, if it fit in there that well. See, since I've never actually had a 7 to work on before, I don't know if this is normal. I started assembling the uprights and just moving along with that. I've had to put a bolt order in, hardware order in, a 7/16/20, which you can see how worn that is. And I think that is for the trunnion on the bottom. So, getting new bolts order, Big Master car. They're good source, and of course for me, it's the next day everything arrives. So, checking through what I do have in stock and what I need. So I'll put this out. I think it's enough for a nice short video, as people see where I am at and the challenges that I am facing.